Hi everyone, welcome to the last webinar of the course. I'm so glad to meet you all today. In this session, I will be talking about the news app project you need to build. There are a few things that you need to watch out for. Also, as always, some tips and hints. So let's get this started. Good. It is very exciting to talk about the last project of the course. This is your opportunity to put all you have learned together, everything. And let's remember the goal of this project. The goal, according to the rubric, is to create a newsfeed app which gives a user regularly updates news from the internet related to a particular topic, person, or location. So in order to complete this project, you will need to get access to the news. You will be using the Guardian US, which is the New York City-based American online presence of the British print newspaper, which has the same name. The Guardian has an open platform that provides public web service for accessing all the content the Guardian creates, categorized by tags and sections. Here's a list of general steps you may want to take under consideration to complete this project. First of all, sign up for an APA key. This step is not required, but I encourage you to take the time and sign up for a key. This will give you the opportunity to learn how to manage keys and how you can do the same for other APIs that may require for you to create an APA key, okay? So I strongly suggest to do this step. Here's the link for the sign up. So yeah, that's the first thing you may want to do. The second, choose a topic, a person, or location of your interest. The app may be or it's open for you to choose any topic, any item of your interest. So take this as an opportunity for you to be creative and I don't know, to also display your own interests. Also, after that, as usual, design your app layouts. It is one of the most important things. How are you going to display the information? Are you going to include images? You may want a list view, and what kind of information will be included in what section. So take a time and design your layouts. And develop the app, and of course, test it. Be sure that every single module is working as expected, okay? And if the API is not returning information, be sure that you are handling this as well. Now, when you sign up for the APA key in the Guardian, choose to register for a developer key, as you are developing the app for learning purposes and not for non-commercial, and for non-commercial use of your content. If you were working for a company and that company has some specific goals and they are trying to commercialize the app, then you may want to select the other side, the commercial key. But in this case, you will be fine creating a developer key, and also it's for free. Okay, so let's talk about some tips. The first thing I encourage you to do is spending some time exploring the APA. And there are many ways. Actually, in the same site, you will see the documentation, or you can use this link. It's very useful. One of my coworkers, my fellow mentors, shared this link with me, and I found it very interesting. If you go to this link, you will see an example of a search in the API, and you will see the format JSON. Here you will see the name of the article under the web title key. You will also find the web URL, where is host, if it is from a web section, that is a part of the data you need to display, and when was this article published, okay? You may also want to know who wrote this article. So for that, you can go to show all filters, and then in show tags, you can type contributors. Okay, see. In this case, you will be able, contributors. In this case, you will be able to see the key tags, and then under the information, under the data that is displayed, you will see the type contributor. In the web title will be showing the name of the author of this article. So that is very handy, okay? This tool is very interesting. You will be able to display anytime the filters and to navigate through the data that is this endpoint is returning. So be sure to navigate, try with different filters, and then once you understand what is this about, then you can move. Okay, so in this case, once you have explored the API and you understand how is this information working, well, you can then move to the next step. If you still are doing some exploration and you need to understand a little better how the API is returning the answer, well, you can also use a JSON formatter to help you out with the formatting of the information. Let's say that you are in this website, and one of the things sometimes developers do is just, go ahead and in your browser, you can type the endpoint, and you will see something like this, right? So this is a little bit confusing, and as it's not as pretty and organized as the other format, but sometimes you need to be exploring in this way. Well, you can use JSONformatter.org or JSON Formatter Curious Concept. And my personal opinion, the first one is very handy. You can just copy and paste the information, and you will see at the right panel all the information pretty organized and formatted. Okay, so try it out. These are some tools that you may find helpful. And also, images are not required, but are not forbidden. So you can include images. Take that under consideration for, increasing a little bit the formatting and the structure of your app. Okay. Here are also some hints. Check this endpoint from Guardian. This is the one you want to use to search to find the information you are looking for. That's the same endpoint that I just showed you. And one of my recommendations is pay attention to the page size field, because this contains the number of articles you will be receiving. So let's say that you are looking for Android news, or for Google I/O in the news. It is possible that that topic has more than 10 articles, right? So if you're receiving tons of information, maybe your app will crash in some point. So my recommendation is pay attention to the page size, okay? And then also check the order by parameter. You can make request more specifics by filtering by relevance, newest, or oldest entries using this parameter. And finally, use the URI builder to construct your URL string. Also, you may want to use the loader rather than using the async task. Okay. But I think that's it. And here are many things you may want to watch out for. First, use a list view, ensuring that each list view displays relevant text and information about the story. So for this project, you need to display the article's title, also the section, the author, and the date the article was published. Those are the fields you need to bring and to display in your view. Okay. Also, it is recommended to display a progress bar and maybe a message while the information is loading, so the user can know that something is happening, that maybe some request has been made, and he or she is waiting for information to be charged or to be logged. Okay, it is very important to keep a good user experience, to promote a user experience that is friendly. Also, handle the rotation of the device. This is mandatory. This is very important. Avoid losing the content when you rotate the view. If you made a search for an article, maybe you need to keep that information even when the user is rotating the device. Okay. Another point: when you click in a story, you need to open the URL of that article. So that means that if you are watching an article and you click, and you as user click on that name, the app may bring into the user's browser the article, the real article, so the user can access to that news. And okay, that's about the view and about handling responses. We have also many points in here. Please always verify if a key exists before using it. And I am not talking about the API key. I am talking about the keys that are stored in the JSON file. So for example, if you are looking for section, be sure that that key exists before using it. This is one of the main reasons the apps can crash, because you as a developer, you are not referring to an existing name of one of the keys that exist, or well, I don't want to say variable because it's not the same. In this case, I am referring to, I'm referring to one of these keys, okay? If you as a developer are referring to section, but section doesn't exist, it is section name, then you need to do something about it. So you first verify that all the keys you are referring to or you are pointing to, they exist, okay? And also in some cases, as you will see, they may or may not be present in the JSON. So not all the responses will contain these pieces of data. For example, in some cases, there is no information about the author or about the section. So you need to handle that kind of situations. If you make use of HTTP requests, as we saw, as we were talking about last week, there may be exceptions, which are unexpected errors. So use a try-catch block to handle those exceptions in order to avoid any problems in the future or any unexpected error that can make your app crash. And a piece of advice is also do not display more than 10 or 15 items because it is not ideal and to have an endless list of news. You can instead show the latest 10 news, for example, related to a topic you chose. And finally, but very, very important, this is your last project. This is like the project where you will be displaying all the things you have learned. So do not use external libraries and packages. You need to do this from scratch. You need to do this using Android Studio, Java, and you may create your own classes. You may handle your exceptions and use the views you have code. So don't use external packages. And finally, do more than it's expected. Here are some ideas. Even when it is not required, you can include images. It will be great if you include some, because it will be easier for the user to analyze the content. Think about it. Lots of successful apps have visual resources. So I encourage you to include some images. You can also include a settings model. What if, I don't know, the user is able to set how many articles wants to see, or the author, or the newest or oldest news, etc. So you can include a settings model in order to personalize the content the user wants to see. And what if you allow the user to type or choose a topic from a list, for example, or a text field? That could be really nice. It's not required, but it could be really interesting to see how you can bring your app to the next level. Use your creativity. And well, that's all I have for now. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will be more than happy to answer them. This is the last webinar of the course. The last one, well, it's not the last one. The last one that is technical. Maybe we will have one more next week in order to talk about what you have learned. So I would love to listen to your experience and to know more about what you have done. Okay, so for now, please, if you have any questions, you can start typing, posting them in the chat that is in the right side of your screen, and I will be glad to answer them. I don't know. I would like to know if you have chose some topic, if you have already start your app. How is it going so far? Okay. Before I leave, my last recommendation: if you opt to register for an API key as a developer, and you have the idea or the idea of sharing your project in GitHub, I would recommend to save your API key in a specific file and avoid committing this API key in your repository, because that information is very personal and you may not want to share this information in a public repository. Okay, so that is something that I have been through before. I once published the API key and I had serious problems after that. So I would recommend for you to be careful about that. Please contact me if you have any questions about how to do that, or how you can solve any other issues or questions you have about your project. Okay, so happy learning, and see you next week. And I'm very excited to see what you developed for your last project.